All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we're diving deep into Sagittarius.
Beyond the typical sun sign stuff, the stuff everybody already knows.
Yeah, we're going way beyond those surface-level traits.
We're going to uncover some pretty fascinating psychological and behavioral insights.
I think some people are going to be surprised.
Oh, yeah, even if you think you know Sagittarius like the back of your hand.
And, even if you're not a Sagittarius.
Exactly. Even if you don't even know a Sagittarius.
These insights, I think, apply to everybody in some way.
Yeah, freedom, optimism, honesty.
Those are universal human tendencies, right?
Absolutely. It's all about recognizing them in ourselves and the people around us.
Okay, so our deep dive today is based on a really in-depth analysis.
Yeah, a bunch of different perspectives on the Sagittarius personality. Really fascinating stuff.
So if you are Sagittarius, get ready for some serious aha moments.
And if you're not, you might just gain a whole new understanding of that friend.
More colleague.
Yeah, the one who's always pushing boundaries, always speaking their mind.
All right, let's jump right in. When we think about Sagittarius, the first thing that pops into my head is...
Adventure me.
Yeah, that adventurous spirit, the free spirit.
But it goes so much deeper than that.
It's not just about loving travel and exploring new places, though that is definitely part of it.
It's more like freedom is a core need for them. Almost like a survival instinct,
Like restricting a Sagittarius is like, what, clipping a bird's wings?
Exactly. It goes against their very essence.
So we're talking about the freedom to think for themselves, to question, to carve their own path.
Precisely. And that's why they thrive on pushing boundaries, challenging the status quo.
That makes them super inspiring to be around.
Oh, yeah. But it can also lead to some friction, especially in relationships.
Because if freedom is their oxygen, then anything that feels like a restriction...
Even something like an emotional demand in a relationship.
That could trigger a fight-or-flight response.
Exactly. And, research in psychology actually backs this up, especially in self-determination theory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they talk about this fundamental human need for autonomy. And for Sagittarius, it's amplified.
So they need a partner who gets that, who doesn't see their independence as a threat.
But as a fundamental part of who they are.
So it's about finding that balance between honoring their need for freedom and also...
fostering deep connection.
Okay, that makes sense. Speaking of balance, let's talk about that famous Sagittarian optimism.
Oh, yeah. They're known for seeing the glass half full, even when it seems completely empty.
It's more than that, though, right?
It's like they believe they can somehow refill the glass.
When it seems impossible.
Exactly. And that unwavering belief in possibilities, that's often what fuels their success.
Like it's a built-in resilience mechanism, almost.
And there's actually research on resilience that shows.
What's that?
People who reframe challenges as opportunities, they tend to be more resilient.
So they don't dwell on the setbacks. They see them as stepping stones.
That's Sagittarius in a nutshell.
But of course, there's always a flip side.
There is. And I'm guessing you can already see what it might be.
I'm thinking sometimes that unwavering optimism might lead to impulsive decisions.
Could be, yeah. Maybe a lack of planning or forethought.
Like jumping into something headfirst without thinking it through?
Exactly. Our source actually gave a perfect example of this. Imagine a Sagittarius super excited about a new business venture.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
They pour all their energy into it, convinced it's going to be a huge success.
But without a solid plan.
Without considering the potential obstacles.
So that optimism, it can be a superpower, but it needs a little grounding in reality.
It does. And maybe a willingness to consider different perspectives, just in case. Okay, so we've got the love of freedom, the infectious optimism.
Yeah.
What else? What's next?
Well, we can't forget about their honesty, right?
Oh, yeah, the Sagittarian honesty.
They're known for being blunt, tell it like it is.
Which can be refreshing.
Definitely.
But also a little jarring sometimes.
True, but it never comes from a place of cruelty, It's not like they're trying to hurt anyone's feelings.
No, it comes from a deep dislike of anything fake or superficial.
Like they've got this strong moral compass and they value authenticity above all else.
Exactly. And I think they truly believe they're doing you a favor by being honest, even if it's not what you want to hear.
Which sometimes it is a gift, right?
It can be. It can shake us out of our complacency and make us face some uncomfortable truths.
But the key for Sagittarius is learning to balance that honesty with...
empathy and tact.
Yeah, learning how to deliver truth without being harsh.
Because not everyone is receptive to those unfiltered opinions.
So it's a skill. It takes practice.
Self-awareness, too.
But it can really help them build stronger, more fulfilling relationships.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered the love of freedom, the contagious optimism, the sometimes brutal honesty.
What else is essential to understanding this complex sign?
Well, what about their curiosity?
Oh, yeah. We can't forget about that. Their insatiable curiosity, their thirst for knowledge.
It's like, remember how we talked about freedom being more than just physical exploration?
It's the same with knowledge.
So their mind is always on a quest.
Whether they're exploring a new country or diving deep into a philosophical debate.
And that makes them amazing conversationalists, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
They're interested in everything.
Always eager to learn something new.
And they can make even the most complex topics engaging.
You know, our source mentioned how they're drawn to those big questions about life.
Like the meaning of it all.
Exactly. The universe, everything.
They love philosophy, religion, psychology.
Anything that challenges their beliefs helps them make sense of the world.
They're not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Even if there aren't any easy answers.
But just like with everything else, there's a potential downside here, too.
There is, and I bet you can guess what it is.
Let me think. I'm picturing a Sagittarius who gets a little carried away with all that knowledge
Oh.
and ends up coming across as a know-it-all.
Yeah, it's that balancing act again.
Their enthusiasm for knowledge can make them seem arrogant.
Or condescending.
If they're not careful.
Right. It's important to remember, learning is a lifelong journey. There's always more to discover.
Humility is key, even when you're a walking encyclopedia.
And recognizing that everyone has something to teach us, no matter their level of expertise.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground already today.
We have.
Love of freedom, infectious optimism, unwavering honesty, insatiable curiosity.
Just scratching the surface, really.
But before we dive any deeper, let's take a look at how these traits play out in different areas of a Sagittarius's life.
Yeah, like how do these traits show up in relationships, friendships, at work?
Stay tuned, because that's exactly what we're going to be exploring in the next part of our deep dive.
We'll uncover how these Sagittarius traits influence their interactions with others.
And how understanding those dynamics can help us all build deeper, more fulfilling connections.
See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Sagittarius.
So we've uncovered some pretty key Sagittarius traits already.
Right? That love of freedom, their unwavering optimism, and let's not forget the honesty.
Which, yeah, can be a little too blunt sometimes.
But then there's that insatiable curiosity, always learning, always exploring.
It makes them pretty fascinating people, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. And today we're going to see how these traits play out in their relationships.
Yeah, relationships with other astrological signs.
Because, let's be real, sometimes those astrological dynamics can be super revealing.
Like, that explains so much.
Right. Astrology shouldn't be taken as like a rule book for relationships or anything.
No, of course not.
But it can offer some really interesting insights into how different personalities might interact.
The challenges, the opportunities, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So where should we start? What about when a Sagittarius connects with another fire sign, like Aries or Leo?
Ooh, get ready for some fireworks.
Literally?
Well, maybe not literally, but definitely metaphorically. Fire signs, they're all about passion, energy, dynamism.
So when two fire signs get together,
Instant spark.
it sounds intense.
It can be, but also super fun.
I can imagine those relationships being full of adventure.
Oh yeah, spontaneous trips, heated debates late into the night.
Maybe a little bit of drama, too.
Yeah, that's the potential downside. All of that fire can lead to some clashes.
Right, because fire signs are known for being pretty independent, strong-willed.
Exactly. So there might be power struggles, reluctance to compromise.
So good communication is key in those pairings, I guess.
Communication is key in any relationship, really, but especially when you've got two fire signs involved.
Learning to respect each other's independence, but also
Finding ways to nurture the connection.
work out towards shared goals.
It's like finding that sweet spot where their energy complements each other rather than constantly creating friction.
Okay, I like that, finding that sweet spot. Now, what about Sagittarius and air signs?
Air signs. So we're talking Gemini, Libra, Aquarius.
Those are the intellectual ones, right?
Yes, they're all about communication,
Yeah.
seeing things from different perspectives.
That sounds like a good match for Sagittarius, with all that thirst for knowledge.
Oh yeah, they can create a really stimulating dynamic.
Lots of mental stimulation, philosophical debates.
Hours spent talking about everything and anything.
I can totally see that. But are there any potential challenges?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is finding a balance between their social lives and their need for alone time.
Right, because air signs tend to be pretty social,
They do. They love being surrounded by people.
whereas Sagittarius needs their space to recharge.
Exactly. So it's about finding a rhythm that works for both partners
Respecting each other's needs without feeling suffocated.
and maybe learning to appreciate the different ways they each recharge.
Like maybe for the air sign, it's a night out with friends.
And for Sagittarius, it's a solo hike in nature.
Exactly. Different needs, but not necessarily incompatible.
Exactly. Okay, are you ready to move on to Earth signs?
Earth signs. So we're talking Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn.
Yep, those are the grounded, practical ones.
I have a feeling this is where things might get a little more complicated.
Yeah, you might be right about that. Earth signs, they're all about stability, security.
They like to plan things out, take things slow and steady.
Whereas Sagittarius, well, spontaneity is their middle name.
That sounds like a fundamental clash of values.
It can be, yeah. Sagittarius wants to jump in with both feet.
And the Earth sign wants to make a spreadsheet first.
Something like that, yeah.
They
It can
could.
lead to frustration on both sides.
Sagittarius might see the Earth sign as too restrictive.
And the Earth sign might see Sagittarius as reckless.
So can these two signs even make it work?
It definitely takes effort and a willingness to really understand each other's perspective.
I guess the key is to focus on what they can learn from each other.
Exactly. Maybe Sagittarius can help the Earth sign loosen up a little.
Embrace some spontaneity.
And the Earth sign can teach Sagittarius the value of planning and follow-through.
Turn those potential clashes into opportunities for growth.
Exactly. Okay, last but not least, we have the water signs.
Water signs, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces.
Those are the deep feelers, the intuitive, sensitive ones.
This could be interesting.
This pairing can go either way, incredibly fulfilling or pretty turbulent.
I guess it depends on the individuals involved.
It really does, because you've got Sagittarius, all fiery and independent.
And then the water signs, who are all about emotional depth and connection.
It's definitely a contrast.
Like, I can see how Sagittarius's blunt honesty could hurt a sensitive water sign.
And the water sign's emotional intensity might feel overwhelming to Sagittarius.
So, potential for misunderstandings, hurt feelings.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If both partners are mature, committed to understanding each other,
This pairing could actually create a beautiful balance.
the Sagittarius can bring excitement, adventure.
And the water sign can help Sagittarius connect with their emotions on a deeper level.
It's about finding that sweet spot where their differences complement each other.
Sagittarius learns to be more sensitive, attuned to their partner's needs.
And the water sign learns to embrace spontaneity.
Step outside their comfort zone.
Exactly.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I'm seeing astrological compatibility in a whole new light.
It's not about finding someone exactly like you. It's about understanding how different energies can interact.
Creating a dynamic, fulfilling relationship.
And remember, it goes beyond just astrology.
Of course.
Shared values, mutual respect, willingness to grow together.
Those are the real foundations of any successful relationship.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about how Sagittarius interacts with other signs.
But let's dive a little deeper into some lesser-known aspects of their personality.
Oh, I like this, the hidden depths of Sagittarius.
Right, because there's so much more to them than just the freedom-loving, optimistic adventurer.
So tell me, what are we talking about here?
Well, one of the most interesting things about Sagittarius is their philosophical nature.
They're not just exploring the world, they're trying to understand it.
Exactly. They want to know the meaning of life, the universe, everything.
So it's not just a physical journey.
No, it's a quest for inner truth, for wisdom.
I bet they love philosophy, religion, spirituality, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, anything that explores those big questions of existence.
They're constantly questioning, seeking knowledge.
Trying to make sense of the world around them.
And they're not afraid to challenge conventional thinking.
No, they love exploring unconventional ideas.
That makes them pretty amazing conversationalists, I bet.
Oh, for sure. Always something thought-provoking to share.
I can just picture them getting lost in deep conversations late into the night.
Debating different philosophies, exploring spiritual practices.
Okay, what else? What other hidden gems are there?
Well, their generosity is definitely a big one.
They're generous.
Incredibly generous with their time, their knowledge, their resources.
Oh, I didn't have guessed that.
It's true. They love to share what they've learned, help others grow.
So they're natural teachers, mentors.
Yeah, they want to inspire others to live their best lives, pursue their passions.
That's so cool.
They really believe in empowering others, spreading knowledge.
It ties back to their optimism, right?
Absolutely, that belief that anything is possible.
They want to help others see that possibility within themselves.
They're the friend who's always cheering you on, no matter how crazy your dreams might seem.
Okay, I'm starting to see why people love Sagittarius so much.
They're pretty amazing people to have in your life.
What else? There's got to be more.
Well, they also have a really strong sense of justice and fairness.
They do.
Oh, yeah, they're deeply moral people, believe in standing up for what's right,
Even when it's difficult.
especially when it's difficult.
So they're not afraid to speak out against injustice.
No, they're often drawn to social causes, fighting for the underdog.
I can see them being passionate activists.
Absolutely. They're natural leaders, motivators.
They can rally people around a cause they believe in.
Exactly.
Wow, this has been eye-opening.
Right.
I feel like I'm finally understanding the depth of the Sagittarius personality.
It's so much more than just freedom and adventure.
There's this whole other side to them. Philosophical, generous, just...
It's a fascinating blend of contradictions, really.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
But for today, I think we've covered a lot of ground.
We have their core traits, how they relate to other signs, some of their hidden depths.
And next time, we're going to get even more practical.
We'll give you some tips for navigating relationships with the Sagittarius.
We'll even explore their shadow side a little.
The challenges they face, the lessons they can learn.
It's all part of the journey, right?
Absolutely.
So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive.
See you next time.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Sagittarius.
We're in the final stretch now, so let's get practical.
Yeah, let's talk about how to actually navigate relationships with these fascinating folks.
Because sometimes, a little astrological insight can go a long way.
It can make all the difference in understanding someone.
Absolutely. Whether you're a Sagittarius yourself,
Or you're close to one.
these insights can be really valuable.
So let's start with the big one, freedom.
Ah, yes, freedom.
We've talked about how much Sagittarius values their independence.
It's like
Yeah.
essential for them, almost a primal need.
Yeah, restricting them is like, I don't know, trying to trap a wild horse.
You're not going to have much luck with that.
So how do we respect that need for freedom in a relationship?
Without feeling like they're pushing us away.
Exactly, because it can be hard.
The key is to understand it's not a rejection of you or the relationship.
It's just part of who they are.
It's like their oxygen. They need it to thrive.
So instead of trying to control them,
Or limit their experiences.
encourage their
And
independence,
celebrate their adventure.
support their pursuits.
And trust that they'll come back.
Because ultimately, they do value connection.
They do, even if they express it in their own way.
Okay, so what else? What other tips do you have?
Well, communication is always key, right?
Especially with a Sagittarius, they appreciate honesty.
Oh, yeah. They're all about directness, straightforwardness.
So don't beat around the bush.
No. Be upfront about your needs, your expectations,
They'll respect that.
and they'll respond in kind.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But what about when they're the ones being blunt?
When their honesty stings a little.
Yeah, how do we handle those moments?
Well, first, remember, they're rarely trying to hurt you.
It's not their intention.
No, they're just expressing their truth as they see it.
Sometimes without a filter.
Sometimes, yeah, so try not to take it personally,
Because a lot of times they're actually trying to be helpful.
even if it comes out a bit rough.
Right, so maybe they're pointing out a blind spot.
Offering a different perspective.
Embrace the truth bombs, even if they're a little explosive.
Well, maybe not literally, but you know what I mean.
And of course, we can assert our own boundaries.
Absolutely. If their honesty crosses a line,
It's a two-way street.
mutual respect is essential.
Okay, what about their optimism?
Ah, yes, the famous Sagittarian optimism.
We know it's contagious,
It can be,
but it can also be a bit overwhelming sometimes.
especially when we're feeling more grounded.
Like when they suggest a last-minute road trip and you're like, wait, but what about the packing?
Right. So the key here is balance.
Embrace the optimism,
Let it lift you up.
but stay grounded in reality,
Exactly. Offer a dose of pragmatism when needed.
but in a supportive way.
You can be their cheerleader and their anchor.
Help them channel that enthusiasm into action.
I like that, cheerleader and anchor.
Okay, so we've talked about the bright side of Sagittarius.
But even the most optimistic signs have their shadows.
Ooh, shadows. I'm intrigued.
Tell me, what comes to mind when you think about potential Sagittarius shadows?
Well, I'm guessing commitment might be a challenge.
It often is, yeah.
With all that freedom they need
It can be hard for them to settle down.
to fully commit to long-term relationships.
They might struggle with monogamy.
Or pull away when things get intense.
So patience is key.
Understanding is key.
They need to feel like they have space, that their independence is respected.
Don't pressure them.
No, it'll backfire.
Okay, what else? What other shadows might we see?
Well, sometimes their optimism can lead to a bit of carelessness,
Oh, I can see that.
like forgetting important appointments.
Or overspending their budget.
They might struggle with routine.
Or not follow through on promises.
So, how do we navigate this without becoming their nag?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's about encouraging their growth.
Without micromanaging them.
Help them develop systems.
And maybe gently remind them about those dentist appointments.
A little nudge can be helpful.
Okay, anything else?
Well, sometimes they're strong convictions.
Which we know they have.
They can lead them to be a bit, well, preachy.
Oh, I've seen that.
Their passion for truth and fairness.
It's admirable.
It is, but it can come across as arrogance
Or judgment.
if they're not careful,
Like they think they have all the answers.
which can be frustrating.
So what do we do?
Encourage open dialogue.
Respectful debate.
Challenge their views, but don't attack them personally.
Help them see different perspectives.
Remind them that their way isn't the only way.
And a little humility goes a long way.
Absolutely. I think ultimately understanding the shadow side of Sagittarius,
It's about accepting them for who they are.
flaws and all,
Recognizing that those imperfections are often what make them so unique.
and lovable.
I like that. This has been such an amazing journey.
It has.
We've explored the depths of Sagittarius, the highs and the lows.
We've seen their love of freedom, their optimism, their honesty, their curiosity.
We've even touched on those shadow aspects.
And through it all, I think it's clear.
Sagittarius is a truly fascinating sign.
Full of life, full of passion.
Always seeking truth, always pushing boundaries. So to our Sagittarius listeners out there, we celebrate you.
We celebrate your adventurous spirit, your unwavering optimism,
Keep shining your light.
and to those who love a Sagittarius,
We hope this deep dive has given you a deeper understanding.
of these complex and amazing individuals.
Remember, astrology is a guide, not a rule book.
Embrace the uniqueness of each person
Let these insights help you navigate relationships with empathy.
with understanding.
That's all for today, folks.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Sagittarius.
Keep exploring, keep learning.
And keep seeking your own truth.
See you next time.